Hello and welcome to the Kashish 2020 virtual panel discussion, which is this particular panel discussion is emerging Indian filmmakers. So we have a bunch of bright and wonderful Indian filmmakers who have made films on LGBTQ themes, which are being shown at Kashish 2020 virtual and receiving a lot of applause and praise. So welcome all of you to this particular session. And Obra Das is going to be hosting the session, and he's going to have a bunch of Q&As to each of you to kind of talk about your film and what your future projects are. And so let's have this conversation. This particular panel is sponsored by Whistling Woods International, and we truly are grateful to them to have been supporting Kashish, not just with the panel discussion, but with also sponsoring the Student Shorts Award. So thank you, Whistling Woods, and over to Obra Das.
Hello, everyone. Thank you so much, Idhar, for letting me moderate this panel because, as you know, my interest does lie here. I'm very much interested in films that are coming from South Asia, and especially I'm always interested in seeing what the Indian filmmakers are always making, and at Kashish now, since for the past few days, we have been watching films from across the world. And the LGBT narrative internationally has evolved so much and it has gone to some other level. But the best thing is the Indian filmmakers are also not far behind. They are also thinking very differently, very out of the box, and incorporating so much within their, within the short film format itself. We would like to hear from you, your process and your stories. Please start with introducing yourself, your name, your film's name, and just 2 lines about the film, and then I'll come to my questions.
Hi, I'm Marti, and I'm the co-writer and the director of the song we sang. This is a short film about Krishna and Alia, two women who meet on one night of Navratri, and they walk the city of Ahmedabad and fall in love. So that's what the film is about.
Wonderful. Ayushi?
So hi everyone, I'm Ayushi Kumar. I am the writer and director for the film By the Beach. So our film is basically about acceptance. So Mohit and Sanjana are a couple and it's a dysfunctional relationship, and Mohit is seeking for a breakup because he has his own personal problems and he does not want to hurt Sanjana anymore because of his problems. So he wants to break up, but Sanjana on the other hand just wants to save the relationship on any cost. So she still being the bigger person and tries to act maturely. And looking at Sanjana's reaction to the breakup, Mohit feels confident and he actually comes out to her and gives her a closure of why he's actually breaking up. And that's because he's into one of the other friends. So he's gay. He's accepting it out loud, but instead of accepting it out loud, he's accepting himself for what he is. So that is my film.
Right. Thank you, Ayushi. Arun Kumar?
I'm Arun Kumar Sendil, the writer and director of Coffee Cafe. The movie talks about 4 stories, included LGBTIQ character. But what is my main idea is, even I expose 4 stories, the transgender character only lead the other story. So it is almost LGBTIQ content. This is happened at my coffee shop a few years back. It's mostly almost a true story. So that's the main idea. When I decide to make a LGBTIQ movie, first I decide how the particular LGBTIQ character, particular transgender character, how to fit with another characterization, another stories, the general community stories. This is my idea of Coffee Cafe.
Right. Thank you. I'll come back to you. Rakshak, could you tell us a bit about your film?
Hi, I am Rakshak, and I am the director and the cinematographer of the film Chunni. I think it's a story about a son and a father. The father is coming to terms to tell his son what he does for living, how he's bringing bread and butter to the table, and that's how, like, the final thing is how the son reacts to the whole thing. His father, when he comes to know what his father does.
Thank you, Rakshak. Tathagata?
Hi, bro. Thank you so much. My name is Tathagata Ghosh. I'm from Kolkata. The name of my film is Miss Man. It deals with this character's journey, Manav's journey from a Bengal suburb, who is not accepted by his father for being gay, and because his father is homophobic, and not by his lover also for not being a woman. And so he decides to come to Kolkata uh, and eventually discovers his sexuality, discovers his gender, and he faces a reality which he may not be ready to confront yet. So our film deals with that. It deals with gender fluidity, and it talks about how we need to accept each other as the way we are. So our film also begins with the line that love should not happen between a man and woman, but between love and love. And that's what our film explores. And it has been overwhelming to play at Kashish.
So, hi, I'm Abhijit Sorna, and I'm the director of the film Compartment. I'm an ex-marine engineer, and this is my very, very first film that I've ever made. And I am really glad that it got selected for Kashish. Right now, I'm currently working as an assistant in advertising for directors. I help them pitch films. I help then get projects and also go through the workflow for post also as well as pre. And I've been doing this for around 3 years now after my marine engineering stint. And yeah, I hope that this kind of breaks ways and helps me get some content which I can make, because I'm really looking forward to that. Yeah. So, and as far as the film's concerned, Compartment is a film of an effeminate guy, and who is who, because of the social rigid dynamic in his society where he lives, is not able to express who he really is. He's been frowned upon, and so it's something which he's buried deep inside. And just like one fine day when he's going to work and at a government job that he's going to, he comes across another person who's dressed very well, and he never imagined something like that could surface. And that's where he gets his inspiration from. And maybe he realizes that, oh, I've forgotten who I really was, and he starts exploring that on his way to work. So it's a very simple kind of a concept, told non-linearly.
Absolutely, thank you so much. I mean, and as like I was saying, look at the stories, look at the diversity of the stories we are celebrating here. As soon as everyone said what the films are all about, you can see, how diverse the films absolutely are. So Tathagato, your film has been receiving a lot of feedback from social media. I keep seeing you have been posting about certain things. There were comments also on the discussion page of the film. Your film is actually a very complex story, and you have chosen a format which is also, the editing style or the kind of visuals that we see. It's fractured. It's actually the kind of you actually take us into the character's mind as how he's undergoing a lot of confusion, and we actually get to see it visually, which is such a difficult task to do. So tell us a little about your process as to how you came up with this, and at this, even right from the scripting stage, how did you incorporate all these elements in your film?
Yeah, so thank you, Abro. Well, this film, the idea of this film, actually the trigger of this film came from a very personal space. A few years back, one of my very close friends got married. I was not invited. Many of us were not invited. I was a bit surprised. But then a few months later, I came to know that he actually came out to his parents. And that's when it was a hush-hush affair. He was married off. The marriage broke apart. I couldn't do much. I felt helpless, but it stayed with me. It really troubled me as a human being. In 2018, when that incident started again, sort of coming back to me, and I have been in touch with him ever since. But I decided that I need to tell this story, and then only I can feel liberated. So I wrote the script, and then of course the obstacles came when it comes to funds always. So I worked for a year, saved money, and decided to fund this own film, produce this film myself. But I think the main challenge, Obro, which you rightly said, how the style developed, if you read the script of the film and if you see the film, it's very different. So I think a lot changed when actually I cast the film. And that was the most crucial part, critical part. And I think when Orgho, who played the protagonist, Orgho Adhikari, when he came on board, it just opened a lot of windows because when I sat down with him and I actually saw his image of Kolkata Pride work, those wings which you have in our posters, and he was wearing that and he was just lifting his head. It was a small video. And when I saw that, something in me just, like, it just felt that this is the Mano, this is the character, this is my protagonist that I had written in the script. So after he came on board, he actually told stories with me. I conversed with him for many days, over a month. We sat down, we discussed, and I think he inspired the film in a lot of ways. When Ratrish came on board, Ratrish Shaha, who played the trans woman mentor character to Orgho when he comes to the city for sex reaffirmation surgery, she also gave a lot of inputs to the film. So I think the involvement of the community people from Calcutta, Tomogno also, it actually helped the film. So the visual montage, the editing style, which you said, narrative form, it just, those images started coming to me in kind of like in a dreamlike state. I talked to Orgho and I had those images in my mind. So, and while we were shooting also, which I don't usually do, I don't improvise because I storyboard everything what I shoot. This was very exceptional because I could see Orgho, like in his moment, because when he read the script, he said that, Tathagata, this is me 5 years back. How did you know my story? And that was a bit beautiful. So we connected on a human level very much. And I think at times it felt like I was shooting a documentary. So the entire structure, the narrative structure evolved over the shooting process and after I met Orgho, Ratrish and Tomogno. So it was a beautiful process, and I could say that I changed as a human being after making this film. I learned the the concept of gender fluidity even more, and that is something I think we need to embrace and we need to accept. And I think it was a beautiful experience. I might make many projects in the future, but this is one film which will stay with me because it was a turning point, and I met a lot of beautiful people in the process. And of course, I mean, it has been a revolution for me.
How wonderful, how wonderful. Also, Tathagata, there's this amazing line in your film which where you say, where one of the protagonists say that a sari has no gender, or which actually goes so well with the whole theme of the film. Could you tell us a bit about that line?
Yeah, so I think thank you for pointing that out. Actually, that line. When I was writing the script, that line was not there, and so there was a documentary which was made a few years back called Born into Brothels, which was based on the red light area of Calcutta. It's a brilliant documentary, yeah. And I think one of the children on whom the documentary was based, Obijit Da, he now lives in the United States. I have been in touch with him because I was very inspired by the documentary. He's a photographer, a filmmaker as well. So when he came to India, I met him and we were talking about his exhibition. And he did this photo series in Shonagachi, in the red light area of Kolkata. And he was explaining one of his photographs. And when we was talking about it, he mentioned this, that Tathagata, I think sari is a beautiful dress. It just takes the form of anything that some person put it on. And from there, the concept came. And I think it was him. So a lot of the lines you see, I actually picked up from real life. And then, of course, chatting with Ratrish also, because a lot of the line, like, it feels good to be independent, Ratrish's dialogue in the film, it's all inspired. So that line is actually, I owe it to Obijit Da, very, very inspiring human being. And I think, and then that line actually kind of sums up the film also in a lot of ways. And actually starts with the father coming in and seeing him dressing up in his mother's yellow sari. So it comes back as a metaphor, as a leitmotif also in the film. So I think that line actually is very significant, and it comes in a place where the character is also facing obstacle to being accepted, and then he gets reminded of that line. So yeah.
Right. It's great to see filmmakers getting inspired from real life. And at this point, I'm going to go to Arun Kumar, because it is an incident that has happened more or less, in your own cafe. I remember, I mean, again, talking about actors, your film also has got such a strong trans person as one of the parallel leads of the film.
Yeah.
And if I'm not wrong, you have also done a short film with the same person a few years
Yeah,
ago.
Sudha.
So could you tell us as to how you trained the person? Is the person a trained actor? Because this is the second film, I guess,
Yes.
with you. Yeah, so could you please take us through the process of training actors from the community, and also how you incorporated the story in your film?
Yeah, actually I find Sudha transgender. Here South India, she is very famous active in LGBT. So before I made one short film with Sudha transgender. When I decided to make this movie, Coffee Cafe, first I talked with Sudha transgender how we make this movie. First we plan only transgender lead, we fix the movie, we can finish full movie based on only transgender character, but the Sudha gave the idea, no, we mixed up some more stories with transgender character. After we decide, Sudha gave the important idea, manage the milk function. I handle the milk function particularly. It's a huge process. We can manage a lot of transgenders at one place. And also we include more transgender character in one movie. We make a practice, rehearsal. We called all the character a transgender, gather one place. And me and Sudha almost as a associate director of my movie. So both we give practice to the artists. Actually, they are not professional artists. So we train them. So after training them, we can manage also at the shooting spot. So we decide, fix camera on some place and interact with them friendly. So do yourself what you understand. So we capture some candid scenes. When you see the movie now, you can realize that some scenes are some more candid sorts of lot of it. Other characters are some stageful artists, so we can manage. Transgender person, little more effective to manage. It's a lot of crowd there. Before shooting 1 year back, we practice full script. We hire a stage and go every day, acting the particular scene full day on 1 or 2 or 3 scenes. So they memorize the dialogues, everything.
Thank you so much, Arun Kumar. While talking about actors, I have to come to Aarti at this point because your film has got 2 fantastic actors, and even your film is creating a lot of buzz online. So could you please take us through quickly as to how you managed to get them, and what was the process with them? Did you rehearse with them as well, or how was it?
Casting was one of the longest and the most important process in this film to get both the characters of Krishna and Alia. I think we spent around 8 to 9 months just getting the right people to play the parts. And I think my casting director Manashri, she did a great job. We were auditioning a lot of people. We made a couple of visits to Ahmedabad and Bombay, and we were just auditioning a lot of people. And then finally we met Ayushi and Serena, who Ayushi plays Alia and Krishna, and Serena plays Krishna. And in fact, when we auditioned them, we also auditioned them for both the roles. So we didn't really have, we had a set of characters for characteristics for each character. But we just wanted to, because they're such normal people, even on screen, it was we were just going to audition the actors and see what suits where while we were auditioning. So I think both Ayushi and Serena, we auditioned for both the roles, and it was a great process because we met 3 of us, and then when I shortlisted both of them after auditioning like a lot of people. We three of us met, and we were rehearsing a lot in an apartment in Bombay. And then when they came down for the shoot to Ahmedabad, they came early, obviously, and we went to these spots in the city because the whole film is shot in the city. So I took them around. Ahmedabad is my hometown, so I knew all these spots really well. So I just took them to those spots so that they know the environment, and because we had very limited time to shoot the film. We had like 5 nights to shoot the 30-page script, so it was a little, and it was all a night shoot. So we had to be well prepared in advance. But yeah, I think it worked out really well. We did a lot of like physical exercises in our rehearsals, because both of them are heterosexual. So it was important that we got the chemistry right between them. So we had a lot of physical exercises that we did, and yeah, we just spoke a lot. We watched a lot of movies together. So it was a very intimate and a very warm sort of a zone that all three of us were in. And then we finally went on shoot well prepared.
How nice. I mean, it shows that the level of comfort where you have with your cast and crew plays such an important role to what you ultimately, how your film will turn out to. My question for Ayushi and Rakshak, both of you are Whistling Good students, right?
Yeah.
So tell me how about the scripting stage, how you came up with the concept, and were there the process during the process, did you get enough time to rewrite what you had initially come up with, and how was this total process like? Ayushi, would you like to go first?
Yeah, sure. Yeah. So basically, we have projects every semester, and we are informed well in advance how things are going to work out. So yes, I did have a lot of time to work on my scripts, but the problem came when we started like the pre-production stages. Like I had a different location booked, and then we were not getting locations, and in that area there was a lot of problem. Whereas but for scripting and for rehearsals and everything, we had a lot of time with the actors, and the actors were my batchmates. So with Aditya, who plays Mohit, I had done a project with him before, but for Sanjana, when I saw Khushbu and I met her, I spoke to her. It was Sanjana you can say Sanjana, and the character of Sanjana and my character is pretty similar when it comes to relationships. So that's why when I saw Khushbu, I spoke to her and I saw that spark, and I'm like, okay, it's her. So when we sat down the scripts and everything, they also liked it. And that's how we started working for the film. And everything, like starting, there was a lot of problem, but on the shoot day itself, we faced a lot of problem because it was supposed to be nice, bright and sunny. And we went on location, it was raining heavily. So we actually got only 4 hours to shoot. I mean, we were allotted 4 hours, but our shooting time was only 2.5 hours because of the other problems. And the worst I really appreciate my actors, because so when we went to the location, the entire location was filled with dry fish. So there was that smell. I'm sorry, but yes. So the entire film is shot with dry fish in the background. And luckily my actors were amazing, thank you, and they really cooperated a lot. My crew was very efficient. Like the moment it stopped raining, run, take a shot, okay, now back.
Great. And Raksha?
Yeah, so I think so I was doing mostly cinematography. I graduated from Whistling Woods as a cinematographer, and I had done a little bit of direction work, and then did some music videos with some people. I did rap music videos, and then my friend gives me a call one day saying that, listen, are you interested in making a short film? I was like, yeah, why not? Like, let me throw some ideas. And for I think it was November 2018. So November 2018, the whole month, every day he would give me a call and he would narrate different stories every day. So one day he just went like, are you familiar with the word nachar? So nachar is it's a very North Indian word where a man dresses up. It's even transgenders. and in some cases these are men who transform them into women and dance on stages and dance on like small functions and all of that. So it's like a blessing. That's what it said, that it's like a blessing that you give. But so that was, I was like, okay, I like where you're heading with this. Now what? I was like, okay, give me a day or two. Let me get back to you. So then Neeti, my script writer, I spoke to her and I was like, listen, this, are you interested in this? She's like, so I'm more of a personal guy. So when I heard this, I was like, okay, how would I react if my father one day comes up to me and says that, listen, son, this is what I do for living, and this is how I can provide you food. Like, that's the basic thing. Like, the food is the last thing one needs. So I was like, okay, that's going to be an interesting subject to work on. A father telling his son that this is what he does. And that's how, like, so we came to Chandigarh, we saw locations, we we looked for actors, and then I didn't like anything in Chandigarh that we were seeing. So then I came back to my hometown, my native home, the film where it's shot in. My still my uncles and aunts, they stay there, and I went there and I was like, can I
Where is
borrow
this
your?
place?
It's in Gurdaspur.
Abhijit, you have a stunning poster of your film where the boy actually is looking behind and there we see white
So,
shirts. Is that
yeah.
where is this?
So it's in Dhobi Ghat in Mahalakshmi. So actually, I try to use a lot of metaphors in the film. If you see, the whole film is very metaphorical. So it's about, when you see him against the backdrop of these white shirts, it actually tells you that he's trying to fit in. But the color is not exactly red. Others are all white, but his is slightly dirty. So it was kind of a metaphor, a visual metaphor of how he's trying to fit in, but actually doesn't, because he's different. And no matter how much he tries, he won't. He's colorful, and that's when when we go to the next scene, he's going through these colorful clothes and he transforms. So yeah, that's yeah. I mean, luckily he looked behind, because that's not the shot. There's no shot like that in the film itself. We got one take. So honestly, I had there was absolutely, I just jumped the gun. Okay, I was like, I need to make something. So we had no permissions to shoot in Bombay. Bombay is supremely expensive. Camera gear also I beg borrowed, and so police, the Indian Railway, the Mumbai Railway was running after us. We are running with a camera. I know they're chasing us because they are, we are like, cops are coming, cops are coming. There are two people on the side. They're like 4-man crew. My sister, my family members, all were helping me. So with absolutely no help, I was I was like in dire straits. So it was a very, very upward climb to really shoot this, which I didn't really expect, because in advertising everything's set in stone, right? You want something, you get it. And seeing those standards, indie filmmaking is, boss, another ball game. And I am really glad actually that I got to do this, and I really cherish the experience, because it taught me a lot, in terms of what goes in, and how difficult it is, because without a budget, it's next to impossible to, or a producer or anybody, it's next to impossible to get a film on board. It's really, really tough.
Tell me, Abhijit, which metaphor was the hardest to shoot? Because it's very easy to write. I mean, I'm sure it's difficult to write such a script, but it is even more difficult to convince your producer to shoot something. So
no, there's no producer. I'm the producer. I put in money myself. This is my money, so I have absolute control over all content in the film. So I had to convince nobody. Yeah, so my team members were my family members. So it's absolutely home production. So no convincing. But just that the metaphors were obviously thought through before shooting. We had a whole shoot plan. I had made a whole treatment note to take my thoughts through, and to convince the actors and tell him, because he's Alize, who's our main actor. He's a non-actor, and he doesn't know how to emote and stuff like that. So I really had to control him in that sense. I told him, just because he shouldn't be conscious on camera, I told him, like, you be yourself. And then I realized, then I had to kind of mold and control him in such a way that he could give the performances I wanted. There was a challenge in handling the actor, but I think I mean, we made it happen.
I would like to take this opportunity to congratulate all of you for making the films that you have wanted to make, which have actually impacted, because I was reading the comments of the people who have been attending Kashish, the kind of comments that, that we get to read, it's actually, your films are empowering so many people at different levels. So here, my question would be, I'm going to throw it out and then whoever wants to can join us. Actually, Tathagata, in one of your, I guess, interviews, you had slightly touched upon this, where about empowering people from within the LGBTQI community. And what I mean is, of course, your films are dealing with LGBTQI characters. We watch the films, some of us, identify with some of the characters, but empowerment, talking in terms of I'm talking in terms of empowering maybe writers who are writing their own stories, to getting people from within the community to come and be a part of your project, maybe for actors, but also behind the scenes. So how do you see this, and also will this encourage you to, for your next films, write more sensitive scripts, or would you like to work with people behind the camera, maybe technicians or who are from the community? What is your take on this? Whoever wants to go first.
I think it's absolutely important, Obro, what you just said, because I always feel that, especially while working in Missman, I feel that when I'm making a film when I'm making a queer film, my first thing will be to cast people from the community itself. Because when I was working, we realized that when I was working with Orgho or other, Ratrish, Tomogno, and later on we did also a few promotional videos also for the film, where I worked with different members from the community. I feel that from the Kolkata community, actually, I feel that there are so many talent out there in the community itself, who are really, who really sometimes don't get their dues, who want to say a lot because they have a voice of their own. They are also storytellers, but sometimes they are not taken seriously. I have seen that. I have done work in the commercial sector, in promotional stuff, and I feel that the awareness which is required for the community and to be a true ally for the community, that is lacking. I have seen many educated people also, they sometimes make a statement or a comment which they are not themselves aware of, which really brings down the years of struggle that the community has been, doing for themselves to fight for their rights. So I feel that films like ours really needs to be made more and need to be made with people from the community itself. Given a chance, I would, of course, now if I'll be definitely exploring after making Missman also, and actually learning so much about the lives of the people, their struggle, hearing so many stories at different screenings, my cast also, and who have actually messaged me also. Like we have this Facebook page of Missman, and you won't believe, I have got at least 50-60 of messages from different people who have asked me that my friend is trying to come out to his or her family or their family, and can you please help in any way? I have no one but to reach out to you for that. So the trust that people are placing on us, responsibility as a human being, more than a filmmaker, I have really matured as a person. And I feel that involvement of people, that the film can be really a catalyst for social change. That belief has been reinstated within me. So working with people, not only in front of the camera, definitely. Having said that, of course, there have been a lot of great performances by actors who are not from the community, and they have played queer characters in the past. And that is fine. But I feel that definitely it actually boils down to the question that you come to the people from the community only when you are going to make a film on this or you want to address this. But I think this need not to be restricted only when you are making a queer film. It can be any film, and you have to involve those people, because you never know what kind of opinions they have. Like they can bring like I saw it for my film, like changes in terms of the script, in terms of the sound. Like my film relies heavily on the sound design, and I spent months doing the sound design of our film. So, and they have actually like I hear Orgho also telling me about the sounds he used to hear as a child, or Ratri sharing her experience. So I feel that this is very important. And given a chance now, I would absolutely involve people as my assistant, or being the cinema, or as a cinematographer, or as the editor. Also, when we are making a film like this, only if the involvement is on that level, then only the film can actually elevate. And it will be a true collaboration, because if you are telling a story about a community, you have to involve people from that community, because then only it will be authentic, because the camera can capture a lie. Because it deals with close-up. It's not only wides. It comes close to your face, and you have to be authentic. The emotion has to be authentic. Only then only it will resonate with people. And I got the result with my film. And given a chance, of course, I have plans to even expand Missman into a feature film in the future, or even like make films on many more queer films, obviously, so that people can gather courage. I have had screenings last year at a festival where a trans woman have come up to me, hugged me, and said that thank you for making this film, because finally we saw someone who is making a film where there is no judgment of the characters, where we are represented truly. So the representation needs to be absolutely perfect. And I think it just comes down to that, because we are living in a time where, though Section 377 has gone away, the theme of Kashish also, that moving forward together, I feel that this needs to be brought out now more than ever, because we are all living in our homes. People are closeted still now, because some of their parents are homophobic. So only film can actually, stories can actually, heal the wounds, can actually bring that change and bring us together. So I feel that now is the time to tell stories which are important, which are timely, and needs to be told with people who matters, whose voice matters, because they have a voice and their voice needs to be heard.
Wonderful. Thank you so much, Satyagata, for that amazing summing up of what we are going through currently. Anybody else would like to add to that?
In front of the camera and behind the camera, LGBT community people, particularly transgender, have the more imaginary capacity. Nowadays, I discuss with some other story, talking with Sudha, transgender. The way she looking that story is different. So we can use as an assistant direction department as a transgender, LGBTQ people, anyone. Particularly transgenders, observing on story is very imaginary capacity. So we can include them actually as an indie filmmaker, as an indie director. We can have the capacity to cast anyone, because we are the director and producer, so we can do it experimental or beneficiary. So behind the camera, we can use them as in direction department. They have more potential to develop a story on life history, everything, every characterization. In front of the camera, every movie, not only LGBT movie, the general community movie, every movie, because nowadays we can see every day transgender or any LGBTIQ people in everywhere. So we characterization based on LGBT in any other movie, any kind of movie, we can design LGBT characterization in well manner. So in any kind of movie, behind the camera and in front of the camera, so it will reach more to the society, that characterization. Also, the people, even they starting, they couldn't grasping the characterization on the spot. They will work very well, very easy. They make him very easy to work with them. So every movie, except LGBT movie or non-LGBT content, we can join them to make the movie. This is my personal experience and opinion.
Thank you so much, Arun, for telling us that, because this is what true inclusion is. I would say that you actually include people from within the community and try and create something collaborative. All of you over here are in various stages of that same process. Arun Kumar has made a short film before and now made a feature. I would want to know from each one of you that how well have you been using your lockdown? What have you been writing, and what is your next step? And of course, I can totally understand that because these are unprecedented times, things have not happened. We don't know. We can't say what's going to happen next because, of course, I mean, finding a producer, of course, is always a challenge. I want to ask your inputs as to what are you thinking, what are you doing next, and how are you trying to, execute it?
Yeah, I think I cannot write. That, for matter of fact, I know I cannot write. So yeah, my director, my writer, Niti, she is working on two projects. One is again LGBTQ. It's about her own little experience when she was a kid and she wanted to get a boy cut, and how she wanted to turn into a boy. She wanted to wear pants instead of skirt. So she went through a phase. That's what usually is being told, that there's a phase in your life where you try and be like your father or like your brother. How things are going to go, I don't know. But yeah, she's writing pretty good. She's studying in LA, so I'm hoping she finishes the script soon, so that I hope I get to shoot this one. So yeah, it's a process that we are all going through, and yeah, there's a lot we are going to do now. So now at least like we've started the pedal, and now it's just going to go uphill. I hope so.
Okay, lovely. Thank you, Rakshak. I love the fact that you said shoot and your lights came on.
Yeah.
Aarti, what are you planning?
Yeah, so I have, like, I would say I've used my lockdown well. We've sort of written a feature film, which is in a very different genre from the one that I've made right now. This was a love story, and now the one that we're making is actually a thriller, and it's a thriller based in one night, and it's about a group of friends who meet again in the city of Ahmedabad, because this place we know really well. And they come face to face with the system, which is the police, and how in that one night, things escalate. And I think, like, one thing I would like to add here is that, at least for me, as you know, like, this was my debut film, and like going forward in whatever I'm writing, I think in whatever story we are telling, it is going to be political in one way or the other. Like the very fact that, this film, the one that is playing The Song We Sang, the fact that it has two women and they're in love, and the fact that they are women is in fact political. So like, I think even if you're not, like, explicitly calling it a political film, I think the politics of the film is always there in the script. Even the one that I'm writing right now, that's also highly political.
Thank you, Aarti, for telling us about your next project.
Sure. Yeah, I mean, it's because it's COVID and things are strappy currently, no monies. At least I don't know anybody. I won't stop. Basically, I'm going to make a film on my mother, and who I think I owe a lot to in my life, and she sacrificed quite a bit of her life for what I have today. So I think I'm going to go home and I'm going to shoot her.
Right. Thank you, Abhijit. Ayushi, what are you planning next?
So I am working on my degree film, my final degree film. So that the film is about a miscarriage, but a miscarriage from a father's point of view. So often when we talk about a miscarriage or something like that, we think about like, we are Indian, so mamta is very important to us, but sometimes I feel we tend to forget what the father also feels. So I'm working on that right now, and the story is kind of very close to me, is because it's my parents' story, and I'm doing a little more research on a specific topic which I eventually want to make. So that is my lockdown scene.
Great. Arun Kumar?
Two parallel stories going on. One is a LGBT documentary. I planned that documentary in multi-Indian language. We are speaking. It's a lot of people with Pune, Kerala, and Calcutta. So we plan multi-Indian language, Marathi, Hindi, Tamil, Telugu, and Bengali. So we are speaking with LGBT gay living to the people and some other LGBT character to make semi-documentary, fiction and non-fiction mix. I think it take more time, but as a documentary we can complete it our own time. So another one is fiction story in mainstream movie. It's going on, pre-production is going on.
Right, great. Next.
Well, as far as I am concerned, in the lockdown, actually, we made a short film called The Meat, Mangsho in Bengali, so which released also online. And I am someone who actually doesn't make a film till I'm very motivated or till I'm very stirred as a human being to make one. So going by the kind of the climate that is going on in the country, different issues, be it political or with different aspects, like so many suicides are happening also in the queer community. And I've been reading about that, and it is moving me deeply. So I'm actually researching on a concept that I'm working on, which I will probably start writing within the next few months. I'm kind of gathering all the materials to start writing, because the thing about writing is that starting to write is the most important part. It is something which Aaron Sorkin said. Like if you put a CCTV camera in my room, you will see throughout 364 days I'm just scrolling up the wall, and one day I'm writing. So preparation to write is the most important thing. So I think that is what I am currently doing. And apart from that, I am actually reading a lot of Bengali literature, which I have grown up reading, and from Sunil Ganguly to a lot of writers who inspired me in a lot of ways. So I'm exploring their novels, their short stories again, the stories which are impacting me, and kind of revisiting it, because sometimes some aspects of the story get involved in your script, a dialogue, or anything, as a matter of fact. And also kind of revisiting a script that I had written a couple of years back, kind of seeing that how it stands, how it holds up, and polishing it. And eventually, if the rewrite, I'm happy with the rewrite, then probably I can move ahead with it.
Thank you so much, Tathagata, and thank you all of you, for sharing. And because like you said, these are difficult times, but all your stories give us so much hope, and I am really looking forward to what you guys are going to make next, and I hope that you get to maybe collaborate with each other.
Absolutely.
and please keep creating more more films, and all the best to everyone.
Thank you everyone for being part of this amazing panel. Thanks a lot for making this happen. Thanks to Whistling International for supporting this particular panel. Thanks to Opera for moderating it. Really happy. Thanks everybody for joining in for sure.